Hello viewers, my name is John Mugisha. I am a professor of public health and also the Vice Chancellor of Cavendish University Uganda. You are welcome to this session. I'll be taking you through changing landscape of universities and university education in the 21st century. You are welcome again, and please do invite your friends to log on to the Cavendish University Facebook and share with us the engagement today. So the topic again is the changing landscape of university education in the 21st century. That actually means that before the 21st century, the landscape of higher education, and particularly university education, was fairly different. What was happening before, and which is actually still happening in some universities. One, there was emphasis on teaching and not on learning. The two are completely different. And two, there was emphasis on contact hours. How much time has a teacher spent with the learner or with the students in class, but not on learning outcomes. Number three, education was focusing largely on generating knowledge, and there was less emphasis on skills, on competencies, and also on attitude, without which responsibility on the job, accountability and integrity and innovation actually keep missing. Universities had differentiated curricula. One university teaching different things, even for the same program, from a different university. And universities were operating in complete isolation from their environment. The ivory tower kind of concept. You are within a university and you are completely detached from the environment around. These have all changed. University education in the 21st century has got to respond to the current socio-economic, political, and technological advancement if we are going to produce graduates that will fit into the job market and add value. We are increasingly seeing education not as learning for its own sake, but as contributing socio-economic development of the country, but also of the world as a global economy. So a number of changes are certainly taking place, and universities which are not coping with these changes or even thinking about them are going to stay behind, but they are also going to produce graduates that will find the challenges fitting into the job market. So what has changed and what has caused the changes? One, there has been international cooperation. Many people that have been reading about higher education dynamics in the world know about the famous Bologna process, which came in after the, again, famous Bologna Declaration that happened in 1988. Bologna was actually celebrating the 900th anniversary. It's one of the longest universities. And so that's where the Bologna process actually came in. It was an intergovernmental kind of collaboration that brought together over 48 European countries, which said we need to harmonize education. So this led to the formation of what we call Common Higher Education Area. But there was also recognition that there are so many things now that higher education or university education in particular needs to take advantage of. needs to respond to or else remain irrelevant. One is changing technology. Today, the internet has opened a new dynamic altogether. You do not need to put a student in front of you in a classroom for that student to be able to learn. You can reach the student in several other ways using the power of the internet. Of course, there is changing job market. More people are required to remain on the job, but at the same time, actually work. There is globalization. So there are so many things that are actually happening that require the providers of university education to package their services differently. I want to contextualize this more to the African setting. In many of the African countries, students who enter universities are also changing. The declaration of universal primary and universal secondary education has affected a number of things. And one of these is the quality of the students entering university. The teaching method in the feeder schools has also changed. People are studying to pass exams, and so that education has become very theoretical and is not helping people to think, but to cram. So when such students come to the university, we cannot teach them the way we used to teach students that were great thinkers. We teach them, first of all, to think, to become independent, and to master their own learning skills, so that first of all, they learn how to learn. And then you can be able to teach them. So this means that we must use a cocktail of methodologies, change the traditional pedagogy to become more learner-centered, to become more interactive, to become more active. So these require that university teachers and the planners how to refocus the way they provide the services. The second aspect is that the entire environment surrounding universities is actually changing. Many of our current students also want to run businesses. They are in class, but they know a customer is being mistreated somewhere where they are running a business. So how do you make sure that they study and at the same time work and combine university education with entrepreneurship? There's a lot to think about. And so we need to refocus university education right from curriculum to delivery, to fit into the changing circumstances within the environment surrounding higher education. Those who are just joining us, I am John Mugisha. I am a professor of public health, but at the same time, I'm the Vice Chancellor of Cavendish University Uganda. We are talking about the changing landscape of university education in the 21st century. As we continue, I'll also be taking some of the questions. Some people are beginning to send in the questions. I want to thank you so much. So I'll be responding to some of these questions as we go along. Someone is actually saying that some of her friends they can be able to in. Thank you very much for that effort. The few people I'm seeing are saying thank you to Cavendish University Uganda for delivering good, market-relevant, quality, research-driven, and transformative education. Yeah, that's our promise to this region and to the world. And thank you for appreciating. Somebody is saying, I have liked the idea of learning how to learn. Let me expound something about on this. Traditional delivery of university education was looking at the entire class as a uniform group of learners. Nothing actually can be far from the truth. You see, we all have different learning styles. That's why somebody would be told in the university that you cannot learn. Get out of here because you can't get the pass mark. And then the person would go join a garage and do great work in mechanics, or join a carpentry workshop and study from there and become a great carpenter. It actually means that the person could also learn in the university, but the methods they were using were not connecting and speaking to his learning style or her learning styles. So people need to understand their own learning styles and learn how they learn, but also teachers need to package the teaching in such a way that it is personalized. This whole issue of I speak to one class as a whole and I stop there does not work anymore. At Cavendish University Uganda, for instance, we run classes, yes, but as we teach, we do evaluation. We call it assessment for learning as opposed to assessment of learning, where you teach and at the end, you give an end of semester exam and you tell people you have passed, you tell others you have failed, so you have to repeat. We do it differently. Modern university education should do continuous assessment. And the issue is not to compile marks at the end of the semester, but actually identify students who are not very strong in particular areas, maybe quantitative skills, maybe basic comprehension, maybe critical thinking. Once you identify them, then you are able to help them according to their own abilities, to understand where their challenges are and actually help them. At Cavendish University, we are running what we call peer-to-peer academic support programs. We identify very good students in particular areas and schedule classes where they assist those students that still need help. We also run what we call general academic consultation clinics. Now, this is the new one in higher education in this, probably in this region, and it is doing very well. So it is working very well. Those who want to know this, they can come to Cavendish University Uganda and see how we are doing it. I can see that we have some people watching us live from Nairobi. Thank you, Shera. I like the comments. People are thanking us for connecting. Cavendish University Uganda has been involved in lots of innovation. Somebody is asking about the research that we are undertaking at Cavendish University. We have a research agenda. And this research agenda is drawn in consultation with industry. Because we believe that universities today should do research that feeds into industry. Otherwise, we will not be adding value. So our priority is largely action research. We have funding for this. We ask students and in fact faculty to compete by bringing up some projects, and then we evaluate these projects. The best are actually funded, and this is what contributes to industry relevant action research, which is our main focus. But we also advise the students who undertake research projects as part of their requirements, for instance, for fulfillment of the master's degree program, to focus on research that adds value to industry or to particular organizations. Because I think this is where a university that wants to do a collaborative relationship on. Let me say something about how we can remodel private universities in this changing academic environment. One, we need to craft an academic model that provides market-relevant, transformative education, which produces graduates that are responsible, educated, employable, and entrepreneurial. I need to say this again. At Cavendish University Uganda, we have actually crafted an academic model which provides market-relevant, research-driven, transformative education that produces graduates who are responsible, who are educated, who are employable, but also who are entrepreneurial. And I can talk about a number of enterprises that have come up, formed by our own students, not only the alumni, but actually also the current students who have come up with a number of organizations and projects. Our students have been competing in the Hart Prize competitions. In April, we have some students going to Nairobi. We have others going to Dubai and others going to London. In the Hart Prize competitions, they have been selected to be among the regional competitors. So this issue of entrepreneurship is actually starting. And some of you could have seen some of our students marketing the apps that they have actually innovated, which monitor transport, which look for lost property, which can help to have e-voting systems, and several others. So this comes through a deliberate effort where we have made a particular academic model that produces people that are entrepreneurial, that are responsible, that are educated, but also who are employable. I have mentioned that one of the reasons we needed to change is because we are getting a different type of students everywhere in most of the African countries. We need to have a clear balance between theory and practice, between in class and out of class learning experiences. And so universities which still think that you can put students in the class and then get the professor to teach them without exposing them to the out of class learning experiences are not going to get there. Because the world has changed and we need students that will go out and become productive on day one of their employment after they have graduated. And so to do that, you need to apply a cocktail of strategies. I can see some questions coming up. This is more of a comment. Thanking Cavendish University Uganda, where success begins. Thank you very much for this comment. Somebody says, that last semester I was taught by one lecturer for 3 course units, and this ended up affecting my grades. Is it proper to have one teacher for 3 course units in the same semester? Yeah, first of all, it is proper to have one lecturer for 3 course units, and running 3 course units doesn't mean that you should teach poorly. Sorry about your grades being affected by one person. At Cavendish University Uganda, actually, we have lecturer evaluation survey every semester. But also in Europe. I think it was at one university in Europe, at Kiel University, where I used to teach as a guest speaker, where they were doing lecture evaluation. I taught in a couple of others, and they were not doing it. So here at Cavendish University Uganda, we do lecture evaluation. Lecturer to do more, what they want the lecturer to do less, what they want the lecturer to start doing, and what they would like the lecturer to stop doing. So JSI, I can see that's the name. Please communicate to us through also your lecture evaluation survey if you are a student. Last semester they just did one, and I've been going through the comments that students give us. Surprisingly, many students gave very, very good comments about their lecturers, because students examine lecturers one by one. And where we need to give feedback, we always actually do. We give feedback to the lecturers. And then in the subsequent surveys, we actually realize that they have improved. So please take this